Welcome to Successful Living. I'm your host, Rob Auclair. I'm a financial planner at Balanced Wealth Management in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Our new show, Successful Living, is here, and what we would really like to do is bring this show to you and make it all about you. We would like to hear your questions, your comments, your feedback, any situations that you have. And then what we want to do is bring that content to our experts. And we have experts in the tax field, the real estate field, the estate planning area, and also in the mortgage area. And those are very local people that we've gone out and gotten the very best that we can. And we'll also bring in some regional help to answer questions that might have to do with Social Security or bigger questions. And then what we'll want to do is have them, our experts, come in and explain to you how their different clients have made their way through those situations. So this show really is about you. And we're going to have you go to Facebook at Successful Living Financial or go to foxprovidence.com. And we'll certainly remind you of how to get there every time. But we really want to make this show about you this year. So a little rundown of today's show. Every show we're going to start out with is going to be the word of the day. And then we're going to be joined by Chad Kritzas, our real estate expert. And Chad is from Home Smart Real Estate. Chad is going to talk about the state of the Rhode Island real estate market. He is also going to talk about curb appeal and whatever other real estate questions we may have for him. Then we're going to move into anxiety within the stock markets. So especially for those people that are drawing an income from retirement, it is really important that they understand what is going on with the markets and try to lessen their anxiety. So lots of people may say, if the market goes down and I'm taking money out, should I go back to work? Should I change my investments? Should I go all into cash? So we're going to answer those questions. And then finally, a question that I think is very prominent among Rhode Islanders. Lots of Rhode Islanders open up their own business. We've got a question from a viewer who actually said, I'm ready to start my own business. How much money do I need before I tell my employer that I'm done? So we're going to answer all those questions. Really good show. So we're going to start out today with our word of the day. And so our word of the day today is networking. So it is the action or process of interacting with others in exchange for information to develop professional and social contacts. So I think whether you are a shy person from a personality standpoint or you're a very outgoing person, we all network in our own ways. Whether it is personal networking, where we need a plumber or an electrician, we're going to go to someone that we know and say, who do you know? Who do you use? And it's built on a trust relationship that we have there. If it's professional, I need a real estate agent, I need an estate planner, who did you use? And so I think what it is anytime we network, what we want to do is, yes, we want to have a lot of people that we know, but it's really about those strong roots that we have that develop strong networking. So we move into a few different areas here of how we actually network. And I think the first one is we network online. And so when we network online, we're either going to be using Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and there's probably others that I don't even know about, all depending on your age, but we'll talk about Facebook and LinkedIn. So anytime that we use Facebook, what we need to realize is that profile is a reflection of who we are. And I think if we want to have strong networking, we want people to get an idea of who we are, and we want that to be, we want to like stuff that's important, we want to make good comments, and we need to realize that people are reading those at all times. LinkedIn is really our business profile, and I talk it and say that today it's our modern our modern resume. And so our modern resume is just a reflection of someone meets you from a business standpoint, they're now going to look at your LinkedIn profile and say, where did this person work? What did they do? And whether they wrote an article, it's a way to kind of publicize yourself. Secondly, we get into social gatherings. And I think this one is a very interesting one where, you may go to parties, sports events, special occasions. You want to be humble here, I think. You don't want to be saying exactly what you do unless asked. People have a strong respect for that. And then finally, we get into business gathering. And this is kind of where you can say, okay, this is where I'm going to put out exactly what I do from a business standpoint. I want to understand what they're doing. But put yourself in a business setting in which you enjoy where you're at. Make it genuine. It's all about being genuine. So I think, anytime we do this, we want to make sure that we are a good reflection upon ourselves. Remember, anytime you're putting yourself out there, people are going to remember who you are. When we return, we'll be joined by Chad Kritzas. He'll talk about today's real estate market, curb appeal, and a few others, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Successful Living. On this segment, we are joined by Chad Kritzas from Home Smart Real Estate, and he's going to help us understand what's going on in today's real estate market, especially here in Rhode Island. So Chad, it seems like the market has just been really, really good. Like from someone on the outside looking in, I look at, oh my God, what a time to be in real estate and the buying and the selling and all that.
Yes.
In a general sense, give us a sense of what's going on or what has gone on, so far this year in the stock market. Not stock market, in the real estate market. See what's on my mind?
Generally speaking, the market's been really strong. We had a great year. We always get a little slowdown at the end of the summer, kind of that August back to school. So overall, we're at a low supply of inventory. Now, inventory is defined if no more houses were to hit the market, how many months would it take to sell the homes that are currently active for sale?
Yeah.
So we're still in what's considered generally a seller's market. We only have 4 months of inventory. However, the issue is you can't look at real estate on a national or a state or sometimes even a city level. It's very microscopic, and you break it down into neighborhoods even more than
right. So you and I were talking even off air. We were saying that there's just a difference in between Providence and where you are,
right.
in the Newport County area.
Right.
So it can be that much of a difference. So
huge.
So I know that we have some statistics from August, and we have our viewers can take a look. Can you walk us through some of those statistics?
Sure. So August over August, single-family home sales, the median sale price was up 7%. The number of sales was down 3%. Now, this has to do, once again, with the lack of inventory on the market. So less homes for sale, less homes to sell, drives the prices up. Simple supply and demand.
Okay. Now, has that been like that for many, does that happen a lot, or is this kind of a unique market?
We have been sitting in a seller's market for the last couple of years anyway, kind of similar to back, like the 06, 07, right. 10 years ago when it was all great.
Yep.
Yeah. A little time in between.
Yeah. All right. If we can go back to that slide, maybe we'll just finish that up for our viewers, and then I've got some good questions for you, hopefully.
Okay. So the pending sales are up, and then you look at multifamilies and condos sales are also considered. They're not featured on this graph, but multifamily sales are up. Prices are up 10%. Sales also down, also lack of inventory. And then more importantly to notice is the condo prices are up 15%, but the sales are also up on the condo market. So we were seeing a higher number of sales back in the condo market, which is reflective of the low single-family inventory.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, let's talk, we talk about multifamily and we talk about condos, I always think of housing market's the housing market, right? And do they move in unison, like together? If they all go up, they all go up. If they all go down, they all go down. And I know you talked a little bit about condos, but if you were to kind of compare those three, the housing, the condos, and the multifamily, how would you say that they have they moved in unison, or some a little bit different?
That's a great question. So the market tends to go up or down together. If you remember when the market went down in 2008, 2009, when it came back in the mid 2015, where it was the condos trailed behind the single families. They were slower to catch up. However, because of the inventory right now, let's say a first-time home buyer in pick a town, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's hard for them to afford a house right now. So I'll just give you an example. In Portsmouth, we have a brand new condo development. You can buy a brand new 3-bedroom condo for $329. You're buying a house for $329. It's probably a fixer-upper. So it's a great alternative with low inventory that people can get in and have home ownership and not be a tenant paying somebody else's mortgage anymore.
Got it. Okay. So, I guess you said it was reverse back when we had a recovery a few years ago or whatever, where it was people were buying houses before condos.
The condos were just slower to catch up because a lot of time.
So now it's kind of turning around.
They're buying because of lack of inventory, but also you remember when a market's swinging back around, a lot of condos can be second homes.
Yeah.
Right. So if the market, if their primary residence is still recovering, they're less likely to buy a second home in that market either. So that I would think that would have something to do with it as well.
Got it. What I've always wondered is, when you talk about, I love the economy in Rhode Island, and I obviously we always want to bring in new companies and everything. Just in your experience, if you think about kind of the sales you've had in the last 12 months or so, are there newer people coming in from out of town? Or are they mostly people that, they're moving from Cranston to Portsmouth? Or is it internal, or are you seeing external, or I'm not sure. What are you seeing?
Well, you see both, right? So you always see people that are, let's say, upgrading, right? They want to move to a different school system for their kids. Now they have 2 or 3 kids, like we were just joking about, right? They need a bigger house. Yeah. But you also have some huge factors, like Raytheon adding a bunch of jobs. The Navy base was a great example. This August, they brought in 600 students to the War College class, which for, on an island, there's only so much inventory. And they bought a lot of houses, and some of the guys were, 500,000-600,000 up there.
Really?
Obviously, they ate up a lot of the rentals too, because 600 students or families.
Are you finding in that instance now you're seeing more people, more contractors building houses because of that, or not yet?
Not yet. We have there's a lot of land for sale at the moment. I mean, this is just a personal comment. Yeah. I think a lot of the people are land developers trying to sell the land off, which in some towns has caused a lot of land sales. I think it's a very good market because somebody that's selling, let's say, their first home, their 3-bedroom ranch, and they're looking to upgrade to their second home, the center staircase colonial, $500,000 or $600,000, I don't know what town you're in. They would love to be able to, turn a key and have a brand new house.
Right.
So when we see those listed, they tend to sell very quickly because of that.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had a great year so far. We've had
year.
some, multiple years of good success in here. I always think about, or I'm sure viewers think about, we always hear you want to sell in the springtime, you want to sell in the summer, school starts after the summertime. Is now a bad time or a good time to sell, or should I take my house off the market and wait? What would you tell that person, that seller?
That's a great question. I might have already heard that twice today. So what happens is everybody seems to think that the spring is a better time. Now, is the spring a great market? Of course it is. But what also happens is now, because everybody's waiting for the spring, 3 more houses on the street might pop up for sale. There's the same number of buyers, but now there's 10% more inventory in the spring. I'd give you an example, if I may. We just listed a house in Newport last week. As of last night, we had 4 offers, a couple of them over asking price, with a 30-day close. The issue is there's no inventory to sell. We've been talking about that for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's less homes for sale. So when this house hit the market, and high compared to the comparisons. I mean, and it's going 5% over asking. I mean, it's amazing. But it's because, like, for instance, this is downtown Newport. There's very few homes for downtown Newport.
Right.
The issue, and a lot of people don't remember this, is if somebody's buying a second home, they want to renovate it. Or if they're going to renovate it, they want to renovate it over the winter. Right? You don't want to buy a house on Memorial Day weekend and then renovate it. You just lost your whole summer in Newport. So a lot of people, some of the biggest sales I've done have been Thanksgiving and New Year's, because then they can renovate over the spring, and then they're in for Memorial Day. So I think that's a big consideration, especially if you're in a second home market. Yeah,
great. So we're talking about this time of year right now, and the holidays are upon us, and I look at, we talk a little bit about curb appeal, and I'd like to just kind of switch the conversation a little bit in that direction. So I think about if I was selling my house, and I'm still living in it, and I want my family to enjoy the holidays, and we're not sure if we're going to sell it or not, should we be decorating for the holidays? Is that something, should we embrace that, or should it be as bland and as neutral as possible? Maybe we don't want to offend someone that doesn't believe in a certain holiday that we believe in. Do we want to have blow-ups in the yard, excessive lights? What's your opinion on that at this time of year?
Well, there's 2 separate things. The first part of that was curb appeal, right? So this is the time of year where you gotta make sure your leaves are all cleaned up out of the flower beds, and just keeping the yard neat and tidy. You're probably not mowing your yard that often, but just keeping it neat and tidy and get rid of the dead weeds out of the flower beds. Now, the holiday decoration, I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to put up your holiday tree, of course. Now, my job is once that holiday passes, now I'll send the photographer out and we'll reshoot all the photos and make it look more springtime. Because the worst, and we see this sometimes, you'll see like there'll be April and there'll be a Christmas tree in your listing photos, or a holiday tree, whatever it's called. So we always want to make sure, and that's my job, that's not the seller's job, is to always refresh the photos to be reflective of the year. You don't want to see snow in a picture in July.
Right.
You do see it. So those are the things we always want to stay on top of those things.
Okay. What would you say if we looked at it from an efficient standpoint of not spending a lot of money, whether it's Christmas time, whether it's Thanksgiving, or whether we're in the springtime, and we mentioned landscaping, and a lot of people, and I just hear this, your door should be freshly painted, or I need to have a pot with nice flowers. Are there some things that our viewers could kind of get a sense of, and even if it's not now, if it's in the springtime, like to you, what things make a property pop?
Right.
What is it? It can be inside too, but in general, from the outside, what would you recommend?
Well, every year the National Association of Realtors does a study. It's called Cost versus Value. If you want to look it up, you probably don't, but if you ever wanted to. The #1 return last year was actually a new steel front door, believe it or not.
Really?
That was the only one that got 100% return on investment. So I actually need to do it at my house too, so I have all the catalogs on my counter. I just can't pick one out. But I'm also not handy, so I need to hire somebody else to come and do it. So the front doors, it makes it pop. Paint jobs, clean. It's the same staging issues. I always say, I was on an appointment the other day. If it's on your kitchen counter and you haven't touched it in 30 days, it goes away. You can stuff those closets full, but if it's something you don't touch a lot in the kitchen, declutter it, make the kitchen look bigger, the counters look bigger. The bread maker from your wedding 20 years ago that you never used, that's just sitting there collecting dust. Just put it all away. It doesn't need to be there. Just box and put in the basement.
Great. That's some great stuff. So I wanted to kind of bring this a little bit full circle. I talked about networking as our word of the day, and just you as a real estate agent, I know that it's very important to have good networks. Tell us, what would you tell someone that's maybe either getting in the real estate business or just in business on their own? What are some important things that you do networking-wise that really deepen your relationships with people? Like, how do you make it a very strong network?
Well, there's two types, right? You're either networking with a potential client or you're networking with another realtor. Right, there's 5,000 of us in Rhode Island. There's no shortage of real estate agents. I mean, there's 500 in Newport County.
Yeah.
So basically, you want to get to know each other, and you need your services like your mortgage guy, your home inspectors, all those guys as well. But it's easier for us too if we get to know our co-broke agents, the agents we're working with.
Yeah.
It's much easier to do a deal together because once you start doing a couple deals with somebody, you start knowing they're just like in your business. It's always a negotiation. Everything's a negotiation.
Right.
Whether it's the curtains or the price or the closing date.
Yeah.
So it's helpful for us from a networking event. Like we have some realtor cocktail parties and things like that we do. But it's easier to get to know the people you're going to do your next deal with.
And do you think it's, if you're in talking about real estate, obviously you have a passion for that. Is that a strength when you're networking because you love it so much?
Well, I think you hit it early on. I mean, you don't walk into a party, a Christmas party, ugly sweater party. Hey, I saw real estate.
Right.
Right. It always comes up.
Be
naturally.
humble about it. People respect that a little bit more, and then they'll eventually. It's always nice when they find out kind of from the backside, of what to do. So.
Well, people call who they know, so it's good to network and get to know people.
Yeah. Chad, thank you for everything. Really appreciate that. To our viewers, when we come back, we're going to answer the question, do you have anxiety during retirement? When you're drawing that income down, do you think that if the market goes down, you need to change things? We'll let you know what to do next. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Successful Living. Are you in the middle of retirement and drawing an income from your investments and being a little anxious on what's going on with the market? And there's so many reasons that clients come to me and tell me that they're nervous. They say, hey, the China trade wars are going to affect the stock market, possible impeachment, the upcoming election, or just in general that we've really had 10 plus years of such a great stock market. Yes, we've had little ups and downs, but in general, it really has been a great 10 years, and they say maybe it's time that it all turns around. So what we're really trying to do is I try to address their anxiety, and I say that the anxiety is caused by two things. One really is the media. So whether we're watching, a local television show, whether we're watching a national TV show, reading a newspaper, online, it's very sensationalized. And for us to have different opinions on a daily basis, I think really kind of causes some anxiety. So, I mean, I'd say that the answer to that really is maybe don't watch as much, or just try to be a little more educated on the fact of what they're telling you and that it might be a little sensationalized. The other option is, or the other cause of anxiety is on the other side of things, is that we become anxious because we don't know about something. And when I don't know about something, and there's plenty of things I don't know about, I tend to not address it, not look at it, but it causes anxiety. And until I actually dig in, I actually do not lessen that anxiety. So what do people do? Number one is, if they listen and they're anxious, they act irrationally. The market tends to go down in a given day. They may say, oh my God, it's time to get money out of the market. The market goes up, they want to put money in the market. We don't want to be reactionary. We want to have a plan ahead of schedule. The other thing that people do is, if you don't understand it, you tend to do nothing. And that's also kind of a little recipe for disaster. So here are a few things to lessen your anxiety in a volatile market. And so the first thing I tell people to take a look at is, how much money do you need? And that would mean doing a budget. And doing a budget can be very difficult to do. I've got 9 out of 10 clients, I think, that do not do a budget, even though they're very successful. You want to know what's coming in. So if you're in retirement, I've got my pension plan maybe, possibly. I've got Social Security, possibly rental income. And then I've got my expenses. And usually there's a shortfall there. So now they're pulling money out of their retirement funds, and there's a draw there. So do a budget. Mint.com is a great free website that someone can go to, just www.mint.com. It's a free website. There's other paid ones. And that's a way to kind of get a gauge of your budget. Number two is diversify your portfolio. In very simple terms, we talk about the stock market and the bond market. Stocks can be risky and get great return. Bonds can be extremely conservative, and they kind of give you your foundation and your solidarity. Make sure there's a good balance there. And what you want to do is at least take a look at how much money you need. So let's say that gap, let's say you had 50% in each one of those, and what we're drawing from is, say you needed $25,000 a year. You'd be taking $12,500 in general from both of those. And so it's an equal draw on those. Now, if the stock market goes down, and when I say goes down, we're talking about a major market correction like 2007, 2008, we now have to shut off where you're taking the money from the equity portion. So now we have that bond portion. And in that bond portion, now you're taking all that money out. So if you needed $25,000, make sure you have $25,000 a year there. How many years do you need it for? I'd say a minimum of 3. Every major market recovery takes 30 months. That's the average. Some less, some more. It takes 30 months. So if you needed it for 5 years, let's just say you needed $25,000 a year, make sure there's at least $125,000 in fixed income so you can let this recover. Number 3, I've kind of, put a little bit of fear in you with that, but make sure you understand market behavior. It's a long play. Be aware that I took the last 32 years, there's only 7 years in which we had a negative market, and there's only 2 years where we've had back-to-back negative markets. So that really puts things in perspective. So again, we want to have a budget, we want to diversify our portfolio, and we want to be aware that markets take time to recover. So I hope that helps you out. Go to our website, we have plenty of resources there. And so now when we come back, have you ever thought about quitting your job and wondering how much money do I need to do that in case this thing does not work out? So we're going to answer that viewer question when we come right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Successful Living. We have a viewer question, and there's no shortage of entrepreneurs in Rhode Island. Lots of people try to make that decision to go out on their own. Our question comes from Dave in Smithfield. Dave asks, I'm a 35-year-old and I'd like to start my own business. How much money should I have before I leave my current job? So probably not the answer, and I tend to always say this answer, but it depends. But as some guidelines, what you want to make sure that you do is a personal budget once again. You want to have a business budget and multiply that times 1.5 for unexpected expenses. And then what you want to do is you want to at least have that for 2 to 3 years. You'll want to have some checkpoints built into that, Dave, and make sure that you've got someone that's done this before, and you can kind of go to them every 2 or 3 months and see how things are. So we appreciate you being here today on the show. We talked about networking. We talked about best times to be able to sell our real estate. And then we learned how to deal with some anxiety and also what we should do to start our own business. We thank you once again for joining us on Successful Living. Join us on foxprovidence.com and every Sunday at 10:30. Thank you.